I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. This is the Beyond the Mouse podcast, the podcast for all things Disney for NPR Illinois Community Voices and for the Front Row Network. I am your host, Craig, and I have a really special co-host today because we are celebrating Brette's birthday. Woo, woo, woo. That's right. November 10th is a day to be celebrated, to be adored.
Aww.
You can think wherever you are on November 10th, it's a Tuesday, you think about Bette, okay? That's all you have to think about that day, and it'll make your day even better. Mr. Bette Rutherford, how are you?
I'm great. You know, we're celebrating, we're recording this a little bit before my birthday, but we're celebrating. Okay, I've got to just kind of tell you.
Every time you say birthday, I'm gonna do it.
Woo-hoo. Okay. Well, I've got to give you a little behind the podcast, okay? Because I do the scheduling on the Zoom for our podcasts, and let's just say this particular film, which is one of my favorites, and that's why I called it on Zoom, Brette's Beyond the Mouse Big Business Birthday Bash. You know, because I'm a fan of the alliteration, you know that, and the other. Okay, so that's why I called it. But the real reason I called it is because I didn't know if my two co-hosts were going to love this movie, and I love it so dearly. I wanted to give them a little bit of emotional and psychological reason to like it because I love it so much. So that was kind of the reason behind it. I know that seems a little calculated and all of that, so manipulative slightly, but they love the movie.
I'll tell you, Bette, you are a practically perfect podcast partner. Okay, so I'm also using some alliteration for you.
Oh my gosh.
We're also joined today by our other co-host, Vanessa Ferguson. How are you?
I'm doing great now that I know it's somebody's birthday. My lung capacity is so poor, I can barely get this thing to toot.
It's because we're just so busy talking on these episodes and recording all of them that, you know, like by the end, your throat is sore and you don't know what to do.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
So here's my story about big business. It takes me a long time to watch movies. And I shouldn't say that it takes a long time to watch movies. It takes a long time. It's like did you ever have that experience in school where you had to read a book for school? So let's take To Kill a Mockingbird, for example. So To Kill a Mockingbird, fantastic piece of American literature. The sequel, maybe not so much, but the original, really important culturally. It's a great, great book. But man, freshman year of high school, I did not want to read that book to save my life because it was assigned to me. And so I have to apologize that it took me so long to watch Big Business because Bette had said a long time ago that if I had him watch a movie, he would have me watch a movie. And so he watched The Rocketeer probably the first day that we made this deal. And then it took me 385 additional days to figure out how to watch Big Business. And I really enjoyed the film. We're going to talk a lot about it today. I'm actually really excited because this is the first movie we've talked about in a long time that isn't just necessarily a new movie. It's just one that you can sit back and watch. And we also use the group watch feature on Disney Plus. And so we wanted to talk a bit about that. But we are having such a fun day today celebrating Brette's birthday. So we're going to get right into it.
That warned me. My lung capacity, Greg, I can't keep up with you if you go too fast.
It is his birthday, and the best way to celebrate his birthday is to make sure that the day of his birthday is celebrated, and we can really enjoy his birthday because I love birthdays. Birthdays are the best thing ever.
Freaking me out, man.
Oh my gosh, now she's hyperventilating. This is not good.
All right. Anyway, yes. All right. Before
I think it's a new tradition. We do this on our birthday. I started it. My idea. Is that okay?
Before Vanessa goes into cardiac arrest over here, I am going to start us off talking about Big Business. I will mention this is available on Disney Plus. So if you have not seen this movie, yes, it is from 1987. That's totally fine. You can still pause this. You can watch the film, come back to it. I will tell you, as someone that had really no expectation going into this film, this is a hilarious movie and it's really enjoyable. So I would definitely suggest that you go and check this film out on Disney Plus and then come back and listen to us. First things first, I want to get our first impressions of this film, and I want to start with the birthday boy, Brett, to talk to me about why this movie means so much to you, or why it's one of your favorites, because this really is a film that you really enjoy and you've seen a lot of times.
I've seen this so many times. Well, hello, Jupiter Holler. I know you're doing fine. Every day you work the factory, every night a jug of wine. But now those bums at Mormax are trying to bleed us dry. But we all knows my sister Rose can yell the battle cry.
Yeehaw!
Thank you. I think that was about right. Anyway, okay, I just wanted to get in the mood. No copyright infringement intended. Okay.
You're the sound editor, so you can make us sound better, right?
No, you sound great. You sound great. I'm not playing. So, okay. So, I have such a history with this film, and it brings me so much happiness each time I watch it. And I have discovered over the years that it has a cult following, like big time. But Big Business has a big time cult following. And there are people that I know that can quote this movie like you would not believe. So we watch it and we quote it, and that's how I kind of started watching it way back in 1987. Anyway, I remember it. I was there, and I think I probably saw it in the theaters, and then I watched it on home video, and I watched it with very good friends, and it became this thing that we would just watch Big Business a lot, and we would quote the lines, and it was a great time. Years later, I have found, 3, 4, 5 other people that love this movie. The other thing is the behind the scenes of the behind the scenes. I was, my friend Wendy and I went to the Disney Studios in 1990 in Burbank, and one of the sound stages had the set, the Plaza Hotel set there, so we actually walked on the set, and because it was used in it was used in beaches. It was also used in a television show as well. So but anyway, so that was cool. Yeah, and also we also saw part of a backlot, and the hospital, the street that the hospital is on, is something I also saw. So that I love all of it. So that is, and I just love this movie, and it was so much fun. I had little trepidation because I'm like going, it's a 1987 movie with Bette Midler and Lily Tomlin, and are my friends going to like it? And it so depends if they don't like it, I can't be my friends anymore, and that would be kind of bad. Well, sort of. The other thing is, you'll see that I am underneath the poster, but you can't really tell because it's just the lovely legs of the sisters, So I'm like going, so anyway, but that's where the poster is. Anyway, so I ramble, but thank you for listening to our ramblings about Big Business. And happy birthday.
You had me so confused. Okay. You had me so confused when you said that you were at the plaza. And then I looked up the information that said the plaza. They didn't shoot at the plaza. And I'm like, was he confused? But you were on the set, the actual set.
Yes.
That's
at
cool.
The Disney studio in Burbank,
I was
California.
so confused by that.
I think that he actually mentioned that in our group thread, because when you said today in our thread, you said something like, "Oh, they didn't shoot this at the plaza." I was like, "Yeah, Brett told us that he was at the set." So
yes.
I think
I did not put a nasty duh or anything like that, but I just went, yeah, I know.
I don't remember birthdays.
Yeah,
and I don't remember facts. Okay.
So
if it wasn't told to me 5 minutes ago, it's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. Well, Vanessa, we watched this movie more than 5 minutes ago, but please give us your impressions to start us off about Big Business.
So again, as I was preparing for this today, I was thinking, oh gosh, that was so long ago. I don't know if I can remember what I saw, but
I can quote it for you.
That's honestly, I was like, well, at least Brett can quote all the lines that I've forgotten already. But my first impression, from what I remember, was that I really liked it. I like, I can't pinpoint what it is, but there's something about like 80s movies that I really like. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Tootsie and Working Girl, and it's just there's something about 80s films like that, like especially in the city, that I really, really like. And I couldn't tell you what it is specifically, but I really enjoyed it. I love Bette Midler. Lily Tomlin is great. The quotes, they have very memorable quotes in this movie, and the fashion. And I wish I had Bette Midler's hair. I know it's 80s hair, but I still really love it. Well, actually, I should clarify which Bette Midler. The Bette Midler that owns the company, not the Bette Midler from the country, because she actually plays two characters.
She does.
Yeah.
She does. You know what I think it is, Vanessa, because I absolutely agree, like Tootsie, all those Ghostbusters to a certain extent. I think what it is that they, at the time, would actually film those location shots in the city. And so much now has moved not only to the soundstage, but also to green screen, right? So they don't want to have to pay a bunch of extras and things like that. But in the 80s, they would just like go to the streets, and so you can kind of see like the hustle and bustle of New York. And particularly in this one, like I think we all commented like how grimy the Times Square was in the movie, and especially like there's like some seediness to it that you see, and it just like that's what I think of when I think of New York, because we grew up watching these movies where that's how New York was represented. And I totally agree with you there. I will say I really enjoyed this movie from start to finish. It's hilarious from start to finish. It's really funny. I am hurt to my core because Brett thought that I was not going to like this film, to the extent where he had said, you know what, Craig, we can do this podcast without you. That would be okay. And it wasn't Brett. It was Brett by means of Vanessa. Vanessa said, you know, you don't have to be on Big Business. And then come to find out, it was really because Brett thought I was not going to like the film. And
this
he thought I was
film
going
means
to
a lot
critique it
to
the whole
me.
way.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Totally
I'm glad
get
you
it.
love
I
it,
totally
though,
get
so.
it. But I really enjoyed it. And I think that we need to jump right in and talk about our leading ladies, Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler. In this film, they have to play these competing roles. I'm thinking that this set was just a blast to be a part of, because these ladies really do such a great job throughout the entire film, jumping back and forth. I would love to see how they actually went about filming this movie, because of course films, for the most part, there's very few that are filmed chronologically, and in this one they absolutely could not have done that, because they would have had to have the two different set pieces. And so to see them go back and forth between these characters, I just wonder how that happened on set, because they are so different when you're looking at them. But let's start it off and talk about whoever Brett wants to talk about first. Do you want to talk Bette or talk Lily?
Well, I think we need to start with the premise is that they are identical twins switched at birth.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to a rather interesting nurse in Hollow Maid. But anyway.
Don't be too harsh on that nurse. She forgot for 5 seconds, and it's very understandable how people can forget things quickly. So
yes, she didn't know what was
hard on people like that.
She didn't know what was apple juice and what was a, shall we say, sample of the same color. Similar color, yeah.
It's easy to forget.
It's easy to forget. Well, let's see. I don't know. Lily Tomlin as Rose Shelton and Rose Ratliff, and Bette, Let's start with Lily so we can end with that there, and then we'll go to the other. Oh, I love the power of my birthday. Thank you for celebrating my birth. Oh, thank you. Oh gosh, here we go. Okay. Well, let's talk about Lily Tomlin. This was really interesting. Apparently, she is, because I read, because I love the movie, so I read about it at the time in Premiere Magazine. Shout out to those 80s. You know about Premiere Magazine? Anyway, oh, it went away. Premiere Magazine did this, I think it was the cover story, but anyway, it was talking about the detail that Lily Tomlin goes through when she's working, and the part in the story where the shoulder pad comes down from her. Do you remember that part? Mm-hmm. That was like this whole bit thing that she needed this to work and all this, because it's such a very specific character point, and so funny. It's like a second level of comedy that's going on while she's saying funny lines, and then she's dealing with this. Yeah. So anyways, there was lots of detail that I think is probably sometimes challenging to directors or maybe co-stars, but ultimately became a wonderful performance. So, but yeah, I love all of her characters. Oh, you're sly. I'm wearing my Tuesday panties, but guess you know that too. Anyway, see, I could have big business Tourette's, I probably will at some point.
Vanessa, what are your thoughts? I loved the shoulder pad bit because to me that also screamed 80s, right? Like just the big shoulder pads and everything else. It was lovely. But Vanessa, your thoughts on Lily Tomlin?
I just thought she was great. I liked her country vigor in wanting to fight the company, but I really related to the other identical twin, the one who can't quite seem to get it together and is in the hotel at night eating desserts from the dessert cart. I mean, why wouldn't you? And the dog getting stuck in the elevator. That was so great. Yeah, I just really liked Lily Tomlin in this. I don't know what else to say. She's great. That's great. Can you find flaws in these women? They're iconic.
Yeah. No, what's funny is that my first experience with Lily Tomlin is actually through The West Wing. And so I know that she's had this huge career, but she came in and replaced Mrs. Landingham in The West Wing. And so that's how I know her. And it's really funny because the rose from the, oh goodness, the Hollow. Say it again.
Jupiter Holler.
Is I see through lines in that character in particular in her portrayal in The West Wing. It's really funny. And then, her other character that's growing up kind of in the big city, I wonder if growing up with Sadie, the Sadie that is coming so down hard on her, that had to have like a huge impact on her personality and ultimately how she developed as a person. And so I think that that's why she is so empathetic, but also comes off as airheaded in the film. And just a really well-written character. It's a lot of fun to have that kind of a dopey type character to play off of. But then you also ultimately end up empathizing and loving that character, maybe even more than some of the others. And that was certainly the case with her portrayal there. I really enjoyed that. But we have to go and also speak about Bette Midler. And this is a name that's larger than life, right? And certainly her characters are larger than life in this film. And I'll start us off here because Sadie, the business lady Sadie, is so great because she is like every corporate villain you'd ever want to see, right? Devil Wears Prada before there was Prada, kind of a thing. Of course, there was Prada in the 80s. I'm kidding. But, like just the person that is almost like a stereotype as far as a woman in business at the time, but also you do still understand her character enough to be able to see her points of view and how even though you're not necessarily rooting for her side to win throughout this, you still see the point in what she's doing. It comes back to when we just had our villains draft that was posted, that idea that a villain who has a plot that you can kind of relate to, you can understand that person better, and it makes them a more enjoyable, well-rounded character. And I was truly impressed, particularly with Rose and Sadie, the amount of development that you get out of these characters, right? Because this is just kind of a goofball comedy. And so I really think that a lot of that is due to the actresses portraying those roles. And Bette was so great in this. Really enjoyed her. We'll go to Brett last, so we'll do Vanessa next.
Yeah, so I was going to mention the villains draft as well, and call business lady Sadie a likable villain. And that, Brett, you'll have to give me the exact quote, but when she calls the coworker, you look like a blood clot.
Is this how we dress for the office? You look like a blood clot.
So in my villains draft, you'll have to go back and listen to the episode, but I talk about how if I were with like the evil queen, I imagine she'd be really sassy and like giving one-line zingers to make fun of people. Obviously, I don't think it's cool to make fun of people, but that line is hilarious. So if it's funny, it's fair. And that's the kind of thing that you would expect the evil queen to do. And that's what I like about business lady Sadie, is just because she's got these like real stingers. You're glad she kind of gets it in the end, because it's very deserved. But it's fun to see her be icy to people, and because she's not just mean, she's funny mean. So I really liked her portrayal of that a lot. And then her country lady is just so funny. Another character that I really relate to, being in a small town and wanting to move to the big city, and her yodeling. My goodness. Those are the best parts of the whole film for me. What is she yodeling in front of a cow? And then is out on the
while
street.
she's milking the cow, while they're trying to raise money
She's
to go to New
milking the
York.
cow and yodeling. Whatever Bette got paid, I'm sure she didn't get paid enough to do that. So that's just, she was just so great.
They should have got paid double.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, because really, she's playing part, so why not?
So clever. Yeah. Is it my turn?
That's wonderful. Brett, talk to us about Bette.
Okay. Well, the Bette character, when we play Big Business. Oh gosh. When we play Big Business, I do the Bette roles. BR did the Lily Tomlin roles. So shout out to BR, hello, wherever you are. And but she had the best lines. No, she had the best lines, and I practiced them. When she's in the elevator with Fabio Averici. Yeah. Okay. And I talk about, now this is just true confessions, geek time. I love this movie so much, is that I practiced when they're doing this, the negotiation. I cannot imagine, what do you think we're negotiating for? And she goes out of the elevator, Euro trash. Anyway, so those lines, that's the line. And my other one, which honestly, I use in my life. Splash some water on your face and maintain. Like going. Anyway.
I'm pretty sure Brett has told me to maintain once.
Like splash some water on your face and maintain. I just love that. Or what's the other one? I don't understand. I subsist on 60 calories a day, or else I blow up like a Macy's Day float. I'm like going again. Another line. Anyway, I love them. Anyway, so I could quote it all day, so I try not to bore you. Love this movie. I love this movie.
I get it. Do you want, now that we are through the ladies, we have to talk about all the men that are trying to get them. So I'll let you decide which man we decide to speak about first.
Well, let's see. I'm looking at my cheat sheet here. Let's see. Well, how about Fred Ward as Rune Dimmick? He's the most fun, isn't he? He's so hilarious. It's almost his portrayal. His portrayal is almost verging on caricature,
but I love that he's like in the mini golf championship, and like it kind of has like a little bit of like a Billy Madison flair to it. I don't know. Like I see a little Shooter McGavin mixed with like just, you know, the most stereotypical kind of hick that you can get. Like it's really great. It's really great.
So well written.
The mini golf thing, and like I'm like, this is my family. Like this is not far from my gene pool, people. Like that could have been me. So I laughed with that because it's just like, oh yeah, I get this. I totally get this.
And when he gives the ring to Rose, you know, I saw it in Big Putts magazine. You know, like going double entendre there, big butts on it. You know, yeah. But you know, a little bit behind the scenes, I think, and I probably need to find this out for sure, but I believe that the miniature golf course that is featured in the film actually was across from Disneyland. Cool. You know, it's on the corner of Catella and Harbor, I believe. Probably need anyway, I should have done a little bit more research before I'm saying this, but I believe that is correct. But post in the comments if you think that is not right. Here.
No, I can't even remember what you said 5 minutes ago.
So yeah, so that's interesting.
You said it was his birthday.
Right across from Disneyland. So
I got it.
I love that scene. Like if nothing else, I love that we have that character so we can get the scene of them like commentating on like the mini golf championship. It is so great.
It was Bartles and James was the host. Bartles and James, again, a big wine cooler in 1987. So
if he can sink the putt with a hole-in-one on the windmill, he will win the championship. I just love it. Like every bit
that
of
was good.
Absolutely.
That was good. But my favorite
I don't know what
a
windmill is, by the way. That was the only thing I screwed up on there. But windmill.
Oh no, the other lines. Okay, I'm going to be quoting them the whole time. Okay, you know, when he was talking to Graham and Chuck about the quality of the quilt. You know, I'm like going, or no, he had the quilt. He brought the quilt. The other two were commenting about the quilt, but he was talking about the kimono. And he said, get that in Nam? Anyway, which maybe they didn't. And then he said, no, Fire Island. So he,
I love those scenes with those guys. Like, it's so funny.
And then the other one, you know, said, let me finish my Pop-Tart here, you know, and it's like this croissant, you know, fancy thing at the Plaza Hotel. But let me finish my Pop-Tart.
I'm totally jumping this all around, but can we talk about how Graham is 8'11" in this movie? He is like so tall. I don't know if it's just because everyone else is so short.
No, he's tall. No, he's like
towering over everyone.
He was like 6'5". Edward Herman is like 6'5", because the guy that plays opposite him, Chuck, Daniel Girl, is like 6 foot tall. And he's, you know, I look at them when they're getting in the cab and all that. I'm like going, Edward is just a tall dude.
Yeah,
they were both so good.
Yeah, they play off of each other really well. And I know I'm sorry, we're jumping all around, but they kind of have that like buddy cop feel to them. And again, it mixes that like street, I don't know, like that. It's so very corporate New York 80s movie. And I think that's what's so endearing about it, is that even though it has some of the usual tropes and usual characters, it does really interesting things and dives a bit deeper than most of those films would.
And it's a little, I mean, it was a way to mainstream their characters a bit for 1987, that they were a couple, you know? So that's a little... that was not found in all movies at that time, you know, so that was a little bit fun. And what is it? Yeah. Chuck has, you know, like, dieting, are we? like so funny. Shh. Anyway, just fun, you know.
Yeah.
Those Dom Perignon, my so anyway, I have Tourette's. I have big business Tourette's.
I'm jumping around, Vanessa, but any comments on Fred Ward's performance, or either the other two that we've mentioned already, and then we can kind of keep going around to all these other swooning men?
I just thought everyone was great. I kind of just label them as like guy 1, guy 2, guy 3, guy 4 because and then Seth Green, because I'm so focused on the two ladies and keeping track of, okay, who am I watching now? Which character is this? Oh wait, they're switching. You really, you can't look away for too long in some of those scenes because the switches are happening so quickly that if you are, run to the fridge to get a snack or get some more Whoppers, which Brett was very kind to get us a bunch of chocolate malt Whoppers for the viewing. You'll miss something important. So, as far as the guys go, I thought they did their parts well, but it's really where this movie is where the ladies shine.
Yeah, for sure. And I really appreciate that about this movie too, is the guys certainly do play a seat, but they also, all of their characters intertwine. And it's funny because at times, because each of the 4 ladies, right? So there's 2 ladies, Bette and Lily, Rose and Sadie. Sorry, I did that backwards. Sadie and Rose. But there's 2 of them. So there's 4 ladies and there's 4 men. But then you don't, like, that was my only confusion, was trying to figure out who matches with what lady, right?
Well, who started with what lady and who ends with what lady.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
true too. Yeah, you're right.
Because when they're confused,
and Seth Green.
Madness ensues. Yeah.
And Seth Green, but Seth Green is a little young,
young
in this
Seth
for the
Green.
ladies.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Michael Gross is in it.
child.
He's the love interest of City Rose, and because he from the time, and we know him from, is it Family Ties?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't watch that, but anyway, but he's from Family Ties, so he's a well-known, dad figure there, or male romantic lead in that. And strangely enough, or not strangely enough, this is all about sisters and brothers and sisters. Well, anyway, his sister is in it too, Mary Gross, who plays Judy, who's the receptionist at Merrimack's.
I like that.
So,
And
that's
she's
cool.
in
It was
Just
fun.
Friends later in life. The movie
Later
Just
in
Friends.
Life.
She plays the mother. I'm pretty sure.
It's like their whole family is tied together.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that was fun too.
Weird.
So the other guy, Barry Primus.
Yeah, he was
It's
Michael,
Seth's
right?
dad. Yeah. So he was
Oh,
fun
okay.
too. They're all fun. So that was
Nice.
Seth's dad.
And then Fabio, Michel Placido.
Yeah. Fabio Alberici,
Yes.
who
Yeah,
looks
he's-
Italian.
He's super Italian. I love when he picks up the wrong Rose and Sadie and they're driving in to New York, and like the reactions of the kind of farm girl Rose and Sadie, and like how he has the newspaper up, and like he's just his facial reactions in that car, hilarious. It's so great. And I mean, I think that probably people that were in this cast probably just had a blast. Like, it would have been so hard to stay a straight face character in a car driving around with Bette and Lily doing their thing, and I can imagine that a lot of that in particular, it'd be interesting to know how much of that was ad-libbed. And so you're just kind of like sitting there having to not really react except for in your facial expression. And I can't imagine the acting job that would have taken.
So again, those very small character choices that I'm sure Lily Tomlin thought of, tearing a piece of gum in half and offering it, I'm like going, I know people who've done that, but it's hilarious and it's so specific, yet it tells you everything about her character, Rose, that, she's not going to waste anything, including gum.
Yeah, that's really great. We ran through the men. We ran through a lot of those side characters. Anybody that you want to speak about in a little bit more, a little deeper?
I'm just surprised that the limo driver didn't get fired right away.
Yeah, he was terrible, right?
He yelled at that, which I can understand why, because Sadie and Rose are difficult / hot mess for him. But in the car, when the new Sadie and Rose come in, the country Sadie and Rose, they don't know what to do when the phone rings in the limo, and the limo driver's like, he's like, pick up the phone?
phone.
Yeah,
Well,
and
okay,
I'm like,
but-
oh, fire him! Like
But his back.
You said that several times throughout that was like your through line was like, fire that guy.
Yeah,
What is he
because
doing around? Fire him.
I know, and then he
had
was
been
rude
there.
to them
He'd been
again
with them from the
later.
beginning. He'd been, he's the chauffeur when the parents are driving through West Virginia. When the mother is pregnant. So
Yeah, so
Yeah,
very
so-
fairly, he may have just had it with them, but
Had it.
But still, I was shocked that he would speak that way to them. But
yeah,
it's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
it's funny if it's funny.
If it's funny, it's fair.
It's fair. Okay.
That's usually more
a life
for,
thing than a. Okay.
Well, I usually apply that more to like if you're easily embarrassed by things that happen to you, like one time I was going to the gym and I fell in the parking lot on the ice, and then I jumped up between the cars and said, "I'm okay." I could get embarrassed, but if it's funny, it's fair. So it's like it's fair to laugh. But sometimes I do say it's funny. It's fair for things
I
I
like
should.
that.
Other things too. Okay.
Yeah.
I like
That's
that.
okay.
We've discussed quite a bit about the actors in this film, which really allows us to move into some of our favorite scenes, some of our favorite productions, shots, whatever you'd like. And so, Brett, we will start that off again for your birthday. That you have that.
Aw.
Dang it. Hold on.
Gee. I'll do the sound of it.
There we go.
That was good.
All right.
That was
all
good.
right.
Well, I think, talk about sort of the production values or the set. And there's a combination of a character in this film is both Jupiter Holler and primarily the city, because we're getting this little snapshot of 1987 and women in business. And when Country Sadie goes in, Ratliff, the Sadie Ratliff goes shopping, and she gets the tennis shoes, which were kind of, that was a very sort of 1987, thing for women, is to have their, their fancy shoes. And then when they're walking in the city, they put on their Reeboks probably, or something similar to that. So she's walking through, and then it gives her a chance to yodel with the locals there, so
Yodel with the
in
locals.
Central Park,
That was so great.
So, so it's just fun. All those, and the bit about, the cab, hailing a cab, that was fun. And Louis Ruckhauser, who is, financial wizard and well-known at the times, gets a cameo there when that's the last person that when she finally gets into the taxi, she pushes him out of the way. And then, they get that, close up on Louis Ruckhauser going, what just happened? So it's fun. Little shout out to 1980s business culture.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I would say, first of all, you kind of stole mine in saying the
Sorry,
set
it's my
pieces,
birthday.
because that's sort of
Don't
where
make me
I
do it.
usually go. But this whole time watching it, we're watching with Anna, and we're like, when are they gonna meet? You have to have that moment where the four ladies meet, right? And is that going to pay off? Because that's really the movie, right? You have to have a payoff in that scene. And it was very, very funny when they meet. And it was funny too, because you could tell, we've been doing this since forever, Haley Mills in The Parent Trap being like basically playing double, right? But I don't know, for some reason, like you could kind of tell the technology and the differences a bit, because it did look like you could see like the two separate cuts when they were doing that. But at the same time, like it's just that acting ability to act against yourself, right? Because they probably have doubles in there playing themselves on the other side. But it was such a funny scene when they all came together and they were all confused, and then all the men are confused. Like that was really funny too. So very, very silly, very funny. I really enjoyed that scene. And I think that scene has to be good or it would hurt the movie. And it certainly was funny. And it lived up to the rest of the script. Vanessa, your thoughts on a favorite scene?
Yeah, and I'll just add what I really liked about After They Met was the ending, that it's not now these two sisters versus two sisters pitted against each other. It's now like three sisters are working together to take down the one baddie. So I really liked how it ended. That was nice too. My favorite scene is what I thought was going to be an Enchanted reference, although this was prior to Enchanted. But when Bette Midler, country Bette, is out on the street and comes up to the steel drummers, and they're like playing their little reggae beats, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna break out into "How do you know that you love her?" And like, it's coming, it's good. But instead, they kind of did. It broke out into basically Bette's opening song, where we see her when she's milking the cow and singing her yodeling. She starts yodeling with this steel drum band, and it's so great, and it just fits in so well and so perfect. And I just love her. Like, for those of us from small towns or not from big cities, like that feeling of when you go to the city and it's like, oh, look at the buildings and look at the storefront, like the windows, and look at what they're wearing. Oh, look, there's a band. And Brett knows how I am about live music. I do it at I'm like, oh, stop, we have to stop here. There's a band. So I just love that scene so much. To me, that scene is so perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that too. It's so great. So great. Brett, you were going to say something?
No, I'm just reveling in the moment, and I'm so happy that you enjoyed it.
Oh, you're just so happy.
My fears are relieved, so.
We can't play Monopoly together anymore.
Sure. Well, no, we can. We can't. No, I was trying to follow my thought there. No, let's see. What is it? No, we can't. No, I can't play Monopoly with either of you. Which, if you haven't heard our podcast about playing games, go back and listen, because then you'll get that reference. Basically, I cannot play Monopoly with my friends. Aww.
So here's what I would say about so I'm moving into what didn't work for me. And I'm going to take this in a slightly different direction. We've gushed about this film. It's a really great, it's a very good 80s film, lots of fun. Go out there and check it out. What didn't work for me at all was Disney Plus's Group Watch. Like, that was such a bummer, because they introduced now behind the podcast. Brett already said we're filming this, or we're recording and filming this in advance. So you already heard that part. But Group Watch was just announced at the end of September, early October. And so we were excited to check it out and try it out. And so this is it's supposed to allow people to be able to watch something together. So you can have up to 7 people on Group Watch, and it allows you to be able to kind of have that experience of being able to watch a film together. That's really all you can do. That's basically where it ends, is that you can watch a film together. It makes sure that the film presses play at the same time. That is pretty much the only feature of this. There are some emojis that you can also use. You are allowed to use these emojis, but I tried to use them, and first of all, they're very limited. It's like a smiley face. There is no negative emoji, so I don't know what you would do if you wanted to express a negative emoji, but there's like a little heart, and there's like the laughing, crying face. But I was trying to do that. I was sending it over and over again, and it never showed up in our little feed. Also, it was kind of clunky, because I logged into it. We have an Apple TV, and I wanted to make sure that I could watch it on my TV. So I had to log into Group Watch on my iPad. And then I was able to get that code on my Apple TV. It's kind of a bear to set up. And as someone so for the last, basically this entire time that we've been at our homes, we've been doing a Friday night kind of Group Watch with our Classics host Brandon Davis, myself and Anna, and myself and Anna have been doing this.
Clarify who was invited to Friday
But literally,
night
like, all we do when we do that is we are on Facebook Messenger, and we just say we're going to hit play at 9:35 or whatever time it is. Like, that's basically the functionality of Group Watch, is just to allow you to hit play at the same time. So Group Watch, not to ride my high horse, to me was not a big addition to to this. I would say, like, basically it allows you to hit play at the same time. Do either of you disagree with that?
I don't. I probably not as strongly. I do not disagree with. Well, anyway, I don't have a problem with it as strongly as you do. But it just facilitated a group watch, and that was fine. And we did a little workaround. We didn't need our emojis. We had other sort of social media apps that we were using to communicate. In fact, yeah, I was quoting lines. I know it was.
Throughout
I'm
the
sure
whole
it got
thing.
really annoying. But anyway, I didn't do as much as I wanted to, so you're safe. So,
But no, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
we ended up having to
disagree
go to
either.
Facebook Messenger anyway. What'd you say, Vanessa?
I don't disagree with your thoughts. I was watching Big Misses on my laptop because of my internet on my TV is a little bit slow, so I thought I'll watch on my laptop. So I had to keep bouncing between tabs to to write to you guys. So but it was fun that we were all watching at the same time. So I like that Disney's trying with that option. That's cool. It would have been cool if we had that the group watch. Like when Mulan came out and I could get my family on the East Coast to watch at the same time. That'd been fun. And then maybe do some emojis. But I wish they had like a live chat component, because that's kind of what makes
I think
Facebook
that's
Live and YouTube fun, is the chat. But
And I should
it's
say,
okay.
I haven't tried out any of the other streaming. I know that my understanding is that Netflix has something similar-ish. I've not tried that. I would imagine at this point maybe Amazon Prime also has something, and I just haven't tried those. So I don't know how this ranks to those platforms, but I was not overly impressed. And who knows, maybe they'll fix that in the future. One thing I will say, and I'll commend Disney on, is that Disney Plus seems to be very responsive to user feedback. And so I'm sure that if they get a lot of feedback that's like, this group watch, it would be great to have a text feature, or whatever, they may decide to add that in the future. And I think they'd be better for it. Going back to kind of more traditionally, what we do is normally we do say, what doesn't work for you in the movie? I am going to guess, Brett, not a whole lot doesn't work for you.
Well, actually, there are a few times where our beloved sisters have some accent issues, where they're kind of going back and forth and who's saying what and I think it's not intended that way. And because I watched it a lot of times, and there's just a few places here and there when I'm like going, wrong person is saying that. So, but I could be wrong too, because am I going to say something about Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler? No. I mean, I just did, but I take it back. I take it all back there.
That is so funny. That is so funny.
Well,
Vanessa, did you have anything that you didn't particularly care for?
I did. So, and this isn't anything they did wrong. It's just the kind of movie. It's the kind of movie that, because there's scenes where like, oh, are they going to see each other? Oh, they didn't. Oh, are they going to see each other? Oh, they didn't. It's one of those movies that can make you a little anxious. And like when the Italian guys like making like sexual references, like hitting on the one sister, but it's not the right sister. Like it just makes you go cringe, and you're like, oh, stop it! Like this, it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. It's kind of like sometimes Ben Stiller movies. I just cannot watch them because he's more on the extreme side of it, where just like bad stuff's happening to him, or like the timing, like, oh, I wish that wasn't happening. So it's just more the genre of film that, I don't, that's not one I usually gravitate toward, but how they did do it was very funny in the film. So especially when the two sisters, the identical twins, Bette's identical twins, end up wearing the same outfit. So I was like, oh, okay, this is funny. This is funny. But some moments I was like, oh, this is cringeworthy, but it was all done very well. Nothing that they did wrong.
Yeah, I would say, again, we would recommend out there to go check out Big Business. Brett, did you have a final thought for us?
Well, I just, again, I just needed a shout out since it's my birthday and I can do what I want.
Don't make
It's
me
my
do it.
birthday. So, but anyway, though, you were talking about how they set up the costume change, that they're both wearing the same dress, which Sadie Ratliff, she spills, it's again one of the iconic lines that I use with my friends. So Maureen, this is for you, because it's like, I know how, and they have all these different kinds of syrups, and you know how you like to mix and match your syrups. So, and then, Sadie, good bread. Yeah, I just love this movie. Maureen was aware of my love for this movie, and whenever we go to Perkins after going to Pleasure Island at Walt Disney World, so we would go to Perkins for late night, and we'd have our syrups, and of course at Perkins they have all your syrups. So anytime we would go there, I'm like, oh, well, look, Maureen, they have all your favorite syrups. You know how you like to mix and match your syrups. So I'm sorry.
I will say my favorite thing about this movie is watching it through Brett. Like having Brett do the
because
movie.
Brett experiences this movie. It's not
and
like he lives
It's my Rocky Horror, it truly is.
Yeah. He lives it. He was throwing toast at the screen and everything.
Yeah,
it was
you should see him with all
throwing
the
syrup here and there.
Say, if listeners out there, message us, email us, set up a group watch with Brett, and then you guys can watch it together. It'll be fantastic. I'll tell you what, this was a lot of fun. Again, happy birthday to you, Brett. Really enjoy. There are no better podcast partners out there than the two of you, and so excited that you get to celebrate here with us, even if it is a little early when we're recording this. But speaking of a little early, we have had a lot of great recordings that we can't wait to bring you in the future weeks here. We have left behind the Halloween season, and we're moving into the Thanksgiving and Christmas and winter holiday season. We love it this time of year. And now Brett can actually watch the Food Network again, which we're really excited about. So he can check out all those
November
baking
1st,
shows and get back to making that wonderful
not being
food
scared
and not being too spooked out about it. So we are really excited. Next week, we have a very special interview. We, of course, have all been devastated really by the layoffs and the furloughs going on amongst the Disney company and their cast members. And so we wanted to try to do our best to give a little signal boosting to some cast members who have started their own podcast. They actually have a lot of material and educational things that you can do for your children as well. So we're going to talk to Julie and Mike of the Secret Hive podcast. That podcast is actually available right now. So you can, as soon as you're done listening here, you can go and listen to it. We have been able to hear some of the first episodes, and it is just delightful. It's got original music and just some top-notch quality. And from there, we will have lots and lots of more fun interviews and things to bring you as we come and bring 2020 to a close. So excited. Thank you so much for listening. If you are new to the podcast, please make sure to hit subscribe and talk to your friends about it. You can find us on social media on Facebook, Beyond the Mouse Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Beyond the Mouse Pod. You also can search for us at nprillinois.org under the Community Voices section. And yes, we are part of the Front Row Network. You can find them on all social media by searching the Front Row Network. I am just so happy and so glad to be moving into November and December. Excited. Remember, on November 10th, celebrate Brett wherever you are. Send Brett a message. Make Brett feel super special on his super special day. Happy birthday to Brett. Thanks so much. For Beyond the Mouse, I am Craig.
I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Brett.
And we will see you real soon in the front row. Maybe at Vanessa's birthday party.
Ooh.
Oh,
that's right.
Turning 29 again.
Ooh.
Maybe.
29? You don't look a day over 22.
You are so right.